All right, everyone. Welcome in to the press conference for the 2025 Champions Cup, the first PDGA Major of the year. We are here at the Swenson Park Golf Course, here with the 2024 Champions Cup champion, Andrew Presnell. Prez, you're defending a title at a venue you've never been at before. Kind of walk us through that dynamic.
Yeah, the OTB Open, as it's been known for previous years, I've always skipped this event. It's just a long way to travel for one separate event. And so when I saw that Champions Cup was coming to this venue for this year, kind of about half excited to play somewhere new, but also a little sad I couldn't defend it back at Northwood. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm getting ready to play my first practice round here after the interview, so I don't even have an opinion of it yet.
Well, can you actually walk us through that calculation a bit further, Andrew? I'm curious how you make those decisions to kind of, take some events off on the West Coast. Is that purely like financial and distance? How do you make that calculation?
Yeah, it's probably like a combo of the distance to get there, financials, and then with the way the Pro Tour points are handed out, you have, I think they count like 10, your best 10 events of like the 16 or 17 that they offer. So, if you miss one or two events, you still have plenty of events to put some good tournaments together and still be fine.
But there's no chance you could have missed this event, being a major
chance.
and being the defending champ.
No chance. Had to come.
Well, so how do you make the calculation to, start your week on the Tuesday and not get here earlier and practice? Do you feel like that's all you really need is a couple days before the event to get ready?
Yeah, I usually like having 2 practice rounds if I'm playing one course. I've been told out here we're playing a lot of like B positions and different tee pads, so it's going to be kind of like a course and a half. And, if I could have got here Monday, maybe that would have given me a little bit more, more practice time and feel a little bit better about the course. But I played Glassblown Open in Emporia this last weekend and then flew out of Kansas City Monday. So it's just how the schedule worked, and I'll just have to make the most of these 2 practice days.
Yeah, you played a tournament off the tour. So how were the chops feeling out there at the country club?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit different with it not being a Pro Tour event.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a gallery. Block party was a little bit smaller, but it was still fun to go to. And the course was a little bit softer than the Pro Tour layout that we played last year. I had somewhat of a chance to win coming down the stretch, and that's all I could hope for, but didn't work out this last week.
Well, Andrew, we were just looking at your stats off camera here, and you passed the 200,000 career earnings mark this year. You also are at 109 PDGA wins. You've been known to be a guy that has filled the season with events. Do you see that continuing, or do you see yourself pulling back at all from that?
Yeah, I see it continuing for sure. I enjoy playing as many events as I can, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Well, I don't know where that 200,000 mark puts you all time, but it's somewhere close to the top, potentially top 20. Were you aware that you had crossed that mark this year?
I saw I had crossed the $200,000, but I had no clue where it ranks as far as all time, and so that'll be something I can look into and figure out.
Well, can you give yourself a goal? You think that and say, hey, I could get this to $1 million. Like, payouts are increasing. Like,
I don't know. I don't really think about the money so much as just winning and playing my best.
Cool.
So, probably I would be shooting for like 200 wins versus like 500,000 in earnings. I think I'd rather have the 200 wins.
All right. Well, let's jump into the course here. I know that you said that you haven't played it, but when you go to a course you haven't played before, is there any kind of research that you're doing? Are you watching past Jomez at all, any of the past Disc Golf Network, to kind of get a feel for what the layout looks like?
I pulled up the caddy book and looked through it a couple times yesterday when I was traveling, just sitting at the airport and whatnot. And then I'm going to play with Chris Clemens, who's played out here a couple times already this week, and he said he has a pretty good understanding of the course, and he'll probably be my tour guide for my first round.
Yeah, we spoke to Leonard Muse, and they didn't just run the course back from previous OTB Opens, right? They heard they got the major. They decided to make an A and B layout this year. I heard there's 10 different pin locations, and that includes 3 entirely new holes. And I just want to ask you, in general, how do you feel about a 4-round tournament having that A and B set up?
Yeah, I like it. We've done this in the past a little bit at like D-Glow, but I think it's only usually like 2 or 3 pins. So it's definitely going to be more practice that I have to put out here. And, you're not going to play the B layout until Saturday, so I'm going to try to have to think back 2 or 3 days, what the game plan was and what I was throwing. So we'll see.
Well, so what does your prep work look like during a practice round? You said you're going to play with Clemens. Do you guys keep score, or what is the ideal practice setting for you to get to that prep?
Yeah, I never keep score in practice rounds. If I play well in a practice round, I don't want to have this score set in my mind that I need to do for a tournament. So I avoid keeping score for practice rounds for that reason. I usually just throw until I'm satisfied with the shot, whether that's 1 shot off the tee, whether it's 5 shots off the tee. As soon as I hit it correctly, I feel pretty good about it, that I can, duplicate that for the tournament and just move on and just throw until I get the shot right.
Yeah, what does it look like on the putting green?
Usually 1 or 2 putts and just kind of move on.
Cool. Well, is it at all a challenge to build the bag when you fly? I know typically you're driving from event to event. You have all the spares in the trunk, right? How do you build the bag for a course that you've never played before?
My bag, I think I carry like 27 discs, and I'd say 24 of them are like set, will not leave my bag. And then there's like 2 or 3 that will kind of come out and go in. If I'm playing a wooded course, I might take out a driver and put an extra mid in. Or I think for this course, I actually put in an extra driver because from what I've been told and what the caddy book looks like, it seems kind of like a longer course.
Yeah.
And so, I just have those couple slots that kind of change. But for the most part, the discs that have been in my bag for this season, they've been in my bag for, couple seasons, maybe some for 6 seasons.
Yeah. Still got
that
drum.
I don't. Yeah, I just like to keep the discs that I know, and once I lose them or they become a little bit too flippy or beat up, that's when I'll swap them out.
Well, Andrew, you've got someone joining you on the bag again this year. Can you kind of touch on what it means to have your brother return to the caddy?
my brother caddied last year for the win, and so that was a really special moment for him and I. And so he told me that he's going to come out and caddy again. He really wanted to, and so I met up with him in Denver at the airport, and then we flew out here to Sacramento and made the drive down to Stockton yesterday. And I'm happy to have him again, and maybe he'll be the good luck charm again.
Well, Andrew, there's no doubt that you showed people that you can compete at the highest level last year. What do you think you need to do to defend your title here at Swenson?
I think the first thing is going to be make the putts. Struggled with putting a little bit earlier in the season. I kind of switched up styles a couple weeks ago, and I was very happy with how I putted at Glassblown Open this last week. So hopefully that carries into this tournament. And from what I've seen on the caddy book, keeping it in bounds. Don't take those OB strokes. And figure out the game plan. If there's holes that I don't feel like I can birdie, just try to find the best way to play for the easy par.
Do you feel like any more nerves will be present because of the situation that you'll find yourself in on that final feature card?
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely more nerve-wracking playing in front of a big crowd on the featured card than your noon card with nobody following. But I welcome that. I welcome the nerves. I welcome the pressure. I like playing in front of the crowd. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Prez, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck in the defense of your title. We'll see you for round 1.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the 2025 Champions Cup. We're here now with defending Champions Cup champion, Eveliina Salonen. Eveliina, after Music City, you flew back to Finland. Is that correct? You took a little break?
Yep.
So when you're building the schedule out for the year, do you make sure to include that return to Finland?
Yeah, I feel like previous years I have been here like doing 2 or 3 month trips, but right now it feels like way too long for me. So I wanted to do those 6 weeks and this 1 week, and because I feel from June to Proctor finals it's going to be so busy and like long stretch tournament. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I have like some free time too.
Yeah. Yeah, that experience definitely plays, and I want to ask you what that return to Finland looks like for you. I mean, are you picking up a disc at all, or are you just kicking back and relaxing?
I know we didn't have snow anymore, so I played disc golf too, and golf, paddle, tennis, CrossFit. So it was also busy.
All right. Well, you returned. You're here on the West Coast. What's your experience with the Swenson Park golf course in this event?
I actually played my first ever practice round yesterday. I have never been here, so course was looking great. I think it's good for me, and yeah, just excited.
Well, how do you feel about the addition of the A and B layout? I know a lot of thought went into making sure that the course felt completely different. In general, what's your take on having the same venue but completely different A and B layouts?
I think it's fine, yeah. And those holes are like not too big difference, so it was like easy to practice too. So yeah, I think it's fine.
And how do you feel like the FPO layout sets up? Do you feel like it really is the power course that people say it is?
Yeah, it is, but also you have to hit your lines and be focused all time, because there is like risks to take big numbers too all the time.
Now, is it mainly driver for you, or can you kind of touch on what discs are kind of showing up more?
I'm not sure. I think I threw so many like Thunderbirds yesterday, but yeah, you have to throw well here, but also like you have to get it really close, because there is so many tricky greens and near water. So if you want to run those putts, you really have to have that confidence.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of zoom out, and I want to ask you, how do you feel like your season has gone thus far?
I think I played well in Florida and Nashville, but those Texas tournaments didn't went well. So yeah, kind of like mixed feelings about those tournaments.
Yeah, is those tournaments that you didn't perform well at, is that something that weighs on you, or are you just able to kind of brush those off lightly and move on to the next event?
Yeah, I think like after those bad tournaments, I played well in Music City. So yeah.
Well, what do you need to do to perform well this week at the first major?
I think everything, like don't stress about things, but just throwing well and make at least most of the putts.
Well, can you kind of touch on the dynamic of defending a title at a completely new venue? Is that in your mind at all, or is it just a fresh slate?
I think if we would play on same course where I won Champions Cup, it would be like much different, because now this feels like new tournament for me, because I have never been here. I don't know like what scores we are playing, so I don't have those like bigger expectations what I would have like on that like same course what we played.
Yeah. Well, Eveliina, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck defending your title. I've got a couple more questions from PDGA's Hayden Henry. Here he is.
Hey, Eveliina.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, just first Pro Major of the year. Got a couple more coming up. The next one would be the U.S. Women's, which again has set a record for the number of players. Can you just speak to that, and what that tournament means to you to compete alongside all those women?
I think it's just amazing to see like how much FPO is growing and like getting so many new women and girls to disc golf. It's great to see, and I'm excited to meet all of them in US Women's.
And then another one in Estonia, and then the big one. And there's going to be 45 plus countries represented at Pro Worlds this year in Finland. What does that mean to you to have the disc golf world and on the biggest stage in your home country?
I don't know how to even explain it. It's like so big and feels like a dream to get worlds there and playing to my home courses. It's going to be crazy, but like getting so many players from different countries just tells like how much disc golf have grown, and like getting like new countries too, so it's getting big.
Nice. We got a lot of disc golf to play before then, but exciting obviously. So thank you so much. Good luck out this weekend, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the 2025 Champions Cup. We're here now with Ganon Buhr. Ganon, I just asked you off camera if you had been here every year. You missed 21. You were here, you've been here since 2022, and you were able to just rattle off your finishes. No question. 9th in 22, 2nd in 23, and then 13th last year. Talk about the second place finish. You were just walking me through. You had a chance to win from what you said, the fifth card?
Yeah, fifth card.
Talk about what you remember from that year.
Yeah, so that year I started off the tournament pretty solid. I think I made lead card after the first round, and I kind of had a rough start to my second round, but I started playing really good toward the end of that second round. And actually on what is now current hole 17, it used to be hole 16, par 4, I hit an early tree, laid up, was trying to play for a bogey, and I didn't know where the out of bounds was. I asked my card mates, I was like, where's the out of bounds? They're like, oh, you can throw it all the way down there, whatever. And so I throw it all the way down there, and I throw it straight OB. So no one on my card even know there was OB there. So then that put me in a bad position, and I was throwing like 5, hit a tree, hit the ground, rolled OB again. I took an 8, and so I went from having a chance to make the lead card for the final round to then I dropped to the 5th card. I think I finished quad par bogey, so I finished like 5 over my last couple holes. And yeah, I was on 5th card. Didn't have too many, obviously aspirations in my mind to come back and get the win, but it was super windy outside, and I had a pretty clean front 9. I think I was like 4 or 5 under on the front 9. And then I started to rattle birdies, and I birdied 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I birdied every hole. And at this point, I'm like almost tied for the lead. I think Gossage started to miss some putts, and I was right there, and I threw a perfect drive on hole 18 to get myself a chance to force Emerson at least birdie one of his next 2 holes, which it was super windy. He easily could have bogeyed them. And I just didn't read the wind right, threw it a little too high, threw it out of bounds, and ended up taking a bogey. So I got second place that year, but would have been the craziest thing ever to come back from 5th card.
Yeah. Well, Ganon, when you return to a course that you've played for many years, are you kind of revisualizing some of the past experiences, and how do you use those visualizations to kind of prepare for the event you're going to?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit different just because the course is pretty different this year.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a good amount of holes that are the same, and even if the hole did change, the landing zone is pretty similar. So I definitely have at least the knowledge of where the land is at. So
yeah.
I need to study the OB lines, but stuff like water hazards and hills and bunkers and greens, I know where all that stuff is already. So it's good to have that knowledge in my mind. I think the biggest thing out here for me is I just need to get the proper amount of practice in, which is kind of tough for me.
Yeah.
I got in really late last night and then had the Jomez round this morning, so that was super fun. But I need to go out there and throw some more shots because I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if there's 2 layouts, 3 layouts, 4 layouts. I don't even know. Every hole has like 3 baskets and a couple tee pads, so I got to go out there, study, and make sure I know where all the out of bounds is, because I don't want anything. I don't want to, come down to the final day and you wish I had an extra stroke, because that matters so much. So, I think if I have my game plan dialed in and my game can feel pretty good, I feel pretty solid about getting my 4th major.
Well, Ganon, can you talk about the decision to arrive to the event on Monday night? You're playing the President's Cup on Wednesday. I'm a little surprised we don't see you getting here earlier to put in that extra work. Can you kind of touch on that?
Yeah, so final round of Kansas City, I woke up extremely sick, and I have done nothing the last 7 days because I've just been bedridden. I actually did go out to practice a little bit a couple days ago. I was feeling a little bit better, and I'm feeling way better today. I haven't had a fever for like 5 days.
Wow, you had
but I'm
fever.
still kind of, pretty bad fever. Probably the most sick I've been in 4 or 5 years. So kind of hit me like a train. And I was very lucky to have an off week, because if I didn't, I don't think I'd have any chance to win this tournament. So I got the time to recover, and maybe that was a good thing. I can let my body rest, and maybe there was something in my body that was needing some rest. So potentially that was a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I came out here this morning feeling great, felt really good the last couple days. So
good.
Back to where I need to be, just dealing with a couple underlying, post-sickness issues like everyone deals with. So, but I'm really confident I'll be feeling amazing for the tournament. And just going to get some good sleep, eat healthy this week, and just get prepared. That's going to be number one thing, is if I can prepare, I think I have a good shot.
Well, great to hear that you've recovered from that sickness, Ganon, and fortunate to have that week off. And I want to ask you about the 14 under par at Kansas City. Do you feel like that was one of your better rounds ever?
Yeah, just because it was really clean. That course is extremely difficult. That is a course that when I went there in 2021, I thought it was pretty difficult. I shot like an 11 under. They made it harder. 2023, I came back, shot a 12 under, and I thought the course was so hard back then. So to shoot a 14, and they made 6 holes harder even this year was pretty crazy. And I missed 2 of the easiest holes. Hole 9 and hole 13 were just some really easy chip forehands that I messed up. So I think I got into that mode like I kind of felt last year during a good bit of the end of the season, where I basically just felt like I could birdie every hole no matter what. I felt confident going up into it. And I mean, like I said, at that course, I've had a ton of history. I've played that since 2021. So I felt good about it, and my game felt good, and that's just a recipe for success.
Well, Ganon, last year you set the bar pretty high for yourself, and the fans expect a lot from you. Going into Kansas City, you still hadn't got a win. You'd been playing well, and you had been in the mix, but I want to ask you, how have those expectations that you kind of set for yourself, how has that played a role in your performances this year?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely hurt a little bit. I missed top 10 at the first event of the year, and that was one of my goals, was to not miss top 10 this year.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of look at it as it's past me and I can kind of just play freely. I don't have to worry about that anymore. But it also hurt because it kind of killed my momentum, and I had a lot of expectations coming into the season. But just like last year, I didn't start off hot. I kind of started off the same way. I stayed in the mix, but, you know, as the season went on, I started to heat up. And, you know, once we got to the West Coast here, my game finally came into form, and I started winning quite a bit. So I think, honestly, it's probably just looking like that same trajectory. Yeah, just looking forward to this week.
Well, Ganon, what do you think it is about a PDGA major that causes players like yourself, causes players like Ricky Wysocki, you know, the big names in our sport to not perform at their best?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely thinking about, I mean, all of us just dream about how it would feel after we won the major, or what it could do for your career, stuff like that. And I think that gets in people's heads. Certainly mine too. I'd say mostly just for Worlds is mine. That one's probably got in my head the most. Obviously, I was able to get 2 majors last year, so I played pretty solid at all of them. Obviously, didn't play my best at Worlds, but I think I go into these weeks trying to be prepared, but not overthinking what I'm doing. And you have to realize it's a marathon. You know, toward the end of last year, I told myself, no matter what happens in the first 2 rounds, I'm going to have a chance to win the final day. And so, you know, you have to be able to tap into that hyper-focus level where you don't look at the tournament as a whole. You literally just go shot by shot by shot. And it's very tough to do. You know, if you're walking on a tightrope way high in the air, if you focus on each step, one by one by one, eventually you're going to reach the end. But if you look up and you look down, you look at all the danger and the fear around you, you're probably going to fall. So I think a lot of that is just changing the mindset. And it's tough to do sometimes, especially if things aren't going your way, your game doesn't feel good. Yeah, just tricking your brain to get into that routine. So KC, I took my practice really seriously before every round. Probably about 3 hours before my round, I'd go out to a course and I'd grab a stack of 10 putters. I'd throw them back and forth multiple times and then get a lot of putts in. So by the time I warmed up for my second time, I was already feeling pretty dialed in. I remember even like the final round of Music City this year, we had to come back in the morning and finish our second round. And I actually like kind of overslept my alarm a little bit to make the final round. And I got there with like 5 minutes to spare. I threw 2 putts, and then I ended up birdieing like 11 my first 12 holes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that same thing where if you can get the mind warmed up pre-round, like way in the morning, I think you can get into that flow state a bit easier. Wow. At least that's how it works for me. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find somewhere to go throw in the mornings here. Just feel locked in, hopefully.
Well, I really dig the tightrope analogy there. I think that's a great way to explain what it feels like. And, you know, I want to ask you, what work do you do outside of the disc golf to kind of hone that skill of being able to maintain looking down at your feet and not up at the actual title?
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. I think for me it's a mental thing. I'll even go back and watch YouTube videos of myself when I was dialed in and kind of just try to get back in that same mindset of just one hole at a time birdie, one hole at a time birdie, and just keep getting on that same train, basically. I don't really have any great examples of how you can kind of do that.
Are you reading literature?
No, that's just because I hate reading, honestly. I'll listen to like YouTube videos and stuff, but
Yeah.
I've never actually dived into anything in terms of mental game of sports ever. I always just
Wow.
go out there and play and
Just intuitive. You're just picking
make
it
my
up.
own basically. So
Wow.
and potentially, yeah, it could probably help me if I got into that type of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good right now. I think it takes another level of mental fortitude to just kind of create your own, and there's a process of figuring all that stuff out on your own that I think can actually benefit you more in the long run than just reading it or listening to other people's ideas.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to give my knowledge to some people. I think people can definitely use it on tour. There's a lot of people out there that have the skills and have the ambition, but just can't quite put it together when it's game time. So
Can't get out of their way, right?
yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, especially when you turn every shot into a dollar bill. That's honestly one of the biggest things I see is, I always came out here to play on the Pro Tour for passion and because I cared to win. And I cared about all that stuff. And, I see people's, their fear in terms of that type of stuff when it comes to certain shots. You have to make this putt to make cash to, make it to the next tournament. If I play like a skins match or something and you have a putt and that putt is for $500, like I feel so much more pressure on that putt than I do for a putt for a major, for a win. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
But to kind of just disassociate what the putt means or what the value is of that certain shot and just lock in, focus, throw the shot, and think about what the proper shot is rather than what could go wrong.
Well, Ganon, when you're walking this course and you're playing your practice round, are there some players in the field that kind of come to mind of who might bring the heat and be competition for you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at a player that has both the forehand and the backhand and big distance. So I think Anthony Barella is definitely one of them. But we've also seen players like Isaac Robinson, Sullivan Tipton, like they play really good out here as well. They've had their really good finishes out here. So as much as it is, it does help to have distance out here and have a forehand, you see a lot of players work really well without a forehand or without big distance. So, I mean, I'd say just your typical top dogs. I mean, Ricky's obviously super hungry. He has that forehand, backhand game. And if he gets on, he could be a scary force out here. But I'm just going to basically do what I can control for the first couple rounds and just play it by my surroundings and the situation I'm in.
Ganon, thank you so much for the insight today. And for the field's sake, we'll keep the books out of your hands for now. Good luck in this weekend's major.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the press conference here at Swenson. We're here with Holyn Handley. Holyn coming off a win, Kansas City, cruised west in the trailer, got stopped by the snow in the Sierra Nevadas. Tell us how you're feeling.
Pretty good. I mean, it's been a lot of practice this week. I feel like practice has been kind of condensed just because we're basically having to learn a 27-hole layout instead of just an 18-hole layout.
Okay.
And with getting here, a day late thanks to some bad weather, feel like I've had to kind of cram all of my practice in. But feeling really good. I feel like I know the course well enough, and just ready to get going.
Well, can you kind of touch on how those drives, affect you? We're talking like an 1,800-mile drive with the big trailer. What is that like for you?
Yeah, normally this is the most stressful drive of the year just because it is so long and you're going through so many different terrain types and there's so much stuff you have to drive through. This year we did it a little differently. We didn't do back-to-back driving days, so we drove for a bit, stayed in Nebraska for a day, and then we drove to Utah and we stayed in Utah for a couple days and then finished the drive. So it was pretty smooth sailing until we got to about the Nevada-California border where I forgot it's still snowing.
Yeah.
And so I-80 was closed when we were trying to go through, so we just stayed the night there and then finished the drive on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon after the snow stopped. But yeah, in years past, this has been a very stressful drive.
Yeah. And I feel like the experience plays a role in the way that you choose to tour, right? Because you figure out like it's best for your body to not just like jam it out and get there early, but to take your time. Well, I want to ask you about this course and specifically about the A and B layout. You mentioned that you have to practice 27. In general, how do you feel about one venue having the different pin positions, the different holes, and playing it, different Thursday, Friday into the weekend?
I love it, especially for a major. I think if you're going to have a major at just one course, this is how you should do it.
Okay.
Because I think majors should have an additional challenge beyond what your normal elite or elite plus events have. And so in this case, it was having to learn all of those extra positions and, get the practice done and manage your week really well. So I love it. I would love to see this happen more.
Well, how do you feel like they did on improving the challenge here? I know you have experience here. You were competing for the win last year against Ella. Do you feel like they kind of upped the ante this year in terms of the challenge?
Yeah, I definitely think so. They've tightened the OB in a lot of spots. I think having last year's hole 17 as the finishing hole, tightening the OB on that left side so you no longer get that bailout play, extending what used to be hole 11, now hole 12, making it that par 5 that played as one of the hardest holes last year, and they've made it fair. It's still a very fair hole, but it's going to play a lot harder.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see double digits down like we saw last year.
Really?
Especially if we end up getting a little bit of wind this weekend, just because the OB is so much tighter and we've got tighter gaps that we have to hit. There's more technicality to it. I think they did a great job.
Well, do you still feel like it is, a power player's course out here?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a little sore this week from all of the
You're
throws.
stretching the shots.
Yeah. I mean, also I think they added a lot of shots where they're trying to get you to shape a backhand and move it right late.
Okay.
But they're not so long that I can't get there with a sidearm. So I'm still playing a lot of that pushing hyzer and power sidearm kind of game. But there is a lot more technicality to it this year. But I do still think the distance is a big advantage.
Well, to be blunt, how far do you have to be able to throw to even have a chance to win the tournament?
I think if you've got good shot shaping and you're making your putts, probably 350 is good enough. But I do think it makes several of the holes a lot easier if you can get up into that 380 to 400 range.
Which I feel like you're one of the only players who's doing on the forehand right now. Have you noticed that the pop has had a little extra to it this season?
I think so. I don't know if that's necessarily any changes or just having done it for several years now and getting more efficient at it.
Yeah.
But my Raptor shots, which I would usually put in the maybe 280 to 300 range, I'm starting to get into the 320 plus range. If I really want to get on a driver, I could probably touch 400, but it's not something you'll probably ever see me do in tournament because it's just not a very good golf shot for me yet. But getting comfortable at that up to 360, 370 range. I
feel like I'm seeing 400 on hyzer in the tournament. I feel like I saw it in Austin on the 16th, all hyzer. How much do you feel like the off-season workout is playing a role in your disc golf game?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's a great opportunity because I don't have any distractions. I have my own course. And so, I'll kind of list out what are the things that I think are going to make the biggest improvements score-wise that I can kind of tackle. And then I'll kind of periodize the off-season so that, I'm working on any mechanics stuff early and then kind of start to incorporate those changes, start to work on shot shapes. And then toward the end of the off-season, working more on scoring and kind of the mental side of things. And I think it's huge. I think every year I've been able to make a pretty significant jump forward.
Well, Holyn, last year you got the Elite Series monkey off the back. What do you need to do to get the major monkey off the back?
I think it's going to be all the mental stuff. I think that's been my biggest hurdle in the past year. It was the biggest hurdle in getting the first Elite Series win. It's kind of been the hurdle to get any Elite Series win, really.
Yeah.
It's my I think my skills are good enough to win even if something's a little off. It's just, can I stay in a good headspace? Can I stay confident? Can I stay calm the entire time? And I think Kansas City Wide Open was probably the closest I've gotten to having a full tournament feeling like that. Maybe, got a little tense on the last couple holes, but by that point I had a big enough lead. So it's just going to be continuing to work on that mental side of the game.
Well, speaking of KC in that final day, I felt like that tension was good for you. I felt like it was just yet another opportunity for you to have those feelings. Cadence was pushing, and you had to make these kind of comeback putts in the wind. And I was most impressed with some of those putts, the wind reads, and how you were able to settle yourself. And you just flash back, a year and a half before that, and those were the moments where you were faltering. So it feels from the outside looking in that you've come a long way. And I want to ask you, what is it like coming to these events now with what feels like is a big target on your back? I mean, people expect you to be competing for the win.
Yeah, that was definitely something I felt going into Kansas City because I was the highest rated player there. I think for me, it's kind of trying to forget about that and remember the things that get me the wins, or when I really put the blinders on, I focus on the little things that I know are going to add up to the better results, and then just kind of tell myself I don't really care what the result is. I just want to feel good about the effort, and I want to enjoy myself, and usually that's what gets me the better result anyway.
Holyn, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to watching you compete for your first major this week.
Great, thank you.
We'll be All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the 2025 Champions Cup. We're here with James Proctor. James, it really is a pleasure to see you and to hear that you didn't have to have surgery and that you're already back throwing. Walk us through how you're feeling, man.
I'm just so excited to be back. I didn't have to have the surgery. I am going to do a PRP injection in June that'll hopefully help heal everything up completely. Right now I'm only backhand, no forehands. But
okay,
pretty much back to full power, and I've been throwing for only the last 2 weeks, so ramping it back up pretty quickly. But it feels so good to be out here.
And what is the experience like? I can't recall you being injured before. I mean, it felt like it was full steam ahead, right? You got a couple wins last year. You're ready for another year on tour, and then you're stricken with this unexpected situation. What was that like for you emotionally, psychologically?
It was tough. I mean, you're right. I was coming off some momentum at the end of last season, and I was really looking forward to attacking 2025. And I was feeling good round 1 to Florida, and then all of a sudden on hole 17, the elbow kind of just locked up, and it was super painful. And I was lining up a soft little approach. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't like I was throwing a full power shot. And so then, it kind of, everything got put on hold, and flew home and got the x-ray, got the MRI. It was kind of a slow process doing everything. And then, they said, partial tear in the UCL, no throwing for a couple months, and, some shoulder rehab and things, and we can see how it goes. And so, not how I expected my 2025 to start, but, I'm glad I'm kind of moving forward now at this point and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Good, man. So you are planning a full tour from here on out?
Yes.
All right. That's
Yes.
great news for everybody. Well, what's your history with this property, James?
You know, it's what is this, the 4th or 5th year now? I'm thinking all the way back to like the San Francisco.
Yeah,
Open,
this will be the 5th here at Swinson,
Okay.
and then I think we had 2 over there in San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't know if I've done historically well here. I think maybe I have 1 top 10. It's a long course, you know. It's a lot of throws, a lot of reading the wind, and you know, kind of picking your spots, where to attack, making some putts, and so, you know, I don't have a ton of expectations going into this event. I'm just hoping to get through it clean and feel good. But it's not a course I've done historically well at. I feel like, you know, I'm not quite in that upper echelon of distance to make some of these longer holes feel easy. A lot of them do feel pretty tough still. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun. I love being here. I'm 2 hours from home, you know, the California sunshine. Like, vibes are always good.
Yeah.
But it's not one I like circle on the calendar like, yeah, I'm going to do really well here, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably considered one of the locals. Do you feel that out here?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, I've played local B tiers in Stockton, and we have the team tournament at the end of the year that's hosted here in Stockton. So, a lot of the club members, you know, I have close friends that live here.
Yeah.
So I definitely get that local vibe.
Well, I want to ask you your thoughts on the A and B layout situation, right? The team here, they wanted to increase the difficulty because they were awarded the major. How do you feel like that dynamic is, or in general, do you like to see different pin positions, different holes on the same property?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. You know, it's a little bit more to think about, a little bit more to prepare for. You know, playing 4 rounds on one course in the same layout is also kind of fun because you make these adjustments. But I'm excited. You know, Leonard is he's a genius when it comes to course design and score separation, and you know, just little changes here and there, little tweaks to help the hole play better. And so, yeah, I think it's been fun to practice and prepare for the A and the B layouts, and I'm excited to see how they play.
Well, James, what did you learn from your 2 wins last year that you're going to implement to try and get your first major this week?
I think the main lessons I learned, you know, for me is that I just have to stay in contention. You know, you're not going to win the tournament round 1, 2, or 3 in this case. So if I'm anywhere near the top, it's kind of just, you know, play solid. You don't have to play great. You don't have to shoot the hot round every round. Just keep yourself in contention and then see what happens on the final day.
Well, James, I got one more question for you, and this is from the Disc Golf Pro Tour marketing team. The Instagram account is nearing 300,000 followers, and they wanted to ask you your favorite Disc Golf Pro Tour highlight of all time. Could be you, could be anyone else. I actually keep seeing the one pop up of you, the ace spit out right off the pole. But yeah, go ahead. What's your favorite Disc Golf Pro Tour highlight all time?
I mean, I'm a little biased. For me, it's the putt at Maple Hill.
The putt at Maple Hill.
I mean, I think about it, you know, and it just makes me smile. It's something that, you know, I'll be able to show my kids and tell my kids about one day. And you know, at the end of my career, it's just, it's going to be the highlight that I look at first. Yeah,
well, I want to ask you something further about that putt, because I heard, I can't remember, was it your caddy? You turned around and asked your caddy, what happens if I make this putt?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, you know, I knew I had the lead going in, and I knew I was bleeding strokes, and I'd thrown out of bounds, and I'm walking up to the drop zone, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if I can lay up and still win, or if I need to make it to win. But in my head, I'm like, okay, I don't want to make the putt and then not know what to do. You know, that just doesn't look great. And so I wanted to know, okay, just if I make it, what happens? And she said, you win. And so I didn't know if I could miss and still win, or, you know, any of that. I just knew if I make it, I win. And that's what happened.
Wow. What a moment, James. Well, thank you so much for your time. Tour's happy to have you back. Good luck this week.
Appreciate you.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back in to the press conference for the Champions Cup. We're here with Ohn Scoggins. Ohn, tell us how you're feeling.
Tired still. Very, very happy to have a 1 week off, but time goes so fast. But tired, but also exciting to play the tournament again.
Yeah, so how did that week off look for you? I mean, you're typically not one to even take a week off. You typically fill it with another tournament. So how did it feel?
I'm very busybody. Even I have a 1 week off, but I just could not help to like clean it, move that, cut here, cleaning my garden, shop up here and there. Like I'm still busy. Like somehow I just cannot even like, all right, I'm gonna lie down on the couch. No.
Yeah.
I'm always have something to do all day. The day go by so fast. 24 hours feel like a 3 hour for me. I don't know, but yeah, I'm very busy at my house.
So you're still in the LA area, is that right?
Last week, yes. Last week I was.
That's where your home and garden is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how is the garden? Is it time to plant stuff? Like what herbs, like what vegetables are you planting?
We very lucky because when I left to the tournament on another state, LA, we have a lot of raining. So my garden was like so green, so beautiful. I have mint, I have cilantro, I have lime, I have grape, I have all kind. Very small garden, but it's pack and jam. It's too green. It's too green. It's
too green.
Out of control. So I have to like clean it out, cutting here and there, make it like beautiful. So yeah, very, very lucky.
Well, how much are you thinking about the garden on the road? Like, are you ever out on the disc golf course playing and you're like, I wish I was back home?
Not so much, I feel like
Cool.
I'm very happy no matter what, no matter where I stay. I'm happy when I'm at home. I'm happy when I'm on the road. I'm not attached to anything. I'm not a person who like, oh God, I need to be at home all the time. That's where I'm happy. No, I'm happy everywhere as long as I have Justin with me.
Yeah.
And outside
Sweet.
the road, like I said, no matter. I'm always find myself happy.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That's what we feel from the outside looking in with you is as you're always able to maintain a certain positivity out there on the course. Well, I want to talk to you more specifically about the course. You said you practiced a little too much yesterday.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the layout is shaping up for your skill set?
I mean, the layout was a little bit overwhelming for me because unfortunately I arrived yesterday and they have A layout and B layout. So I feel like if I just only practice A layout, I'm kind of like, man, I'm missing B layout. So yesterday I was like pushed too much. So I practiced B layout and then practice A layout. So it's too much. Like your body just know it. I woke up, I just feel like I hit by a truck or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like hurt my body over the place. But I feel like I need to practice hard on Monday because today I want to relax so I can have energy for play tomorrow. I know it's just only like, okay, I cannot lead information much, but anyway. The course is good. I love the course. I feel like it's very fair for everyone.
Yeah.
Big arms, small arm, as long as you can keep in bounds, as long as you like accuracy, make the putt in the wind. I feel like everybody can still win in this tournament. Yeah.
Well, where's the health of your arm and your elbow at? I know that you were dealing with the nerve tingling down into your fingertips. Are you still managing that?
Gone.
It's gone.
Gone. Finally. It take 2 months. Of course I massage and then I eat healthy, and then also I'm not throw side arm much. Normally when I practice the round, I throw a lot of side arms. So whatever that 2 months, even the tournament, I'm kind of like have to cut down a lot of side arm. So that fixed. The numbness is gone, the pain is gone, thank God. So now I can throw side arm, but my side arm still like weak because I didn't use them enough. But I believe in hard work. I believe in keep throwing it, and then you'll gain more distance, you gain more strong. But happy. My arm's gone. No, not my arm gone, but my pain is
Your
gone.
arm's still there, the pain
Yes.
is gone.
Yes.
That's great, Ohn. We really love to hear that. I mean, you're really an inspiration for people out there, for athletes all over the world. Really, you're into your 40s and you're able to compete at the high level. If you were able to just give a little bit of advice to someone on how to keep going and how to keep playing into their 40s, what would it be?
You know, like I said, it's my energy to play disc golf even on 40 is about don't take things too serious. You know, don't take things serious. I feel like enjoy the moment you have, enjoy the things around you, enjoy the people around you or your family, especially your family, your loved one. I'm just not I'm not like too serious at anything, you know. Like I'm not too serious at. Even I love this job, but I'm not too serious of this job. Like even I lose or win, I'm still like in the middle. I don't have a high expectation. I always forgive myself. I love myself so much. I love myself, guys. I love myself. So that's why whatever I make a mistake, I always forgive myself. That's very important. Because when whatever you make mistake, you forgive yourself, and you have, and then you have positive thinking. And keep you going, not burn yourself, you know. Very important. Like sometimes when you're so mad, you burn yourself. It make you not happy, you know. Like for me, I'm just like, you know, whatever happens, happen. Whatever lose, lose. Whatever win is win. You know. I don't have high expectation, and then keep things simple, and go with the reality. What do you call? Go with the real stuff. You know your game very well. You know your level. I'm not gonna thinking like my level of 5, and I'm not gonna go to the course. Oh yeah, I'm gonna play like 10 level today. Now, you go with your flow. Go with your, you know yourself very well. You know. So
that's sound advice, Ohn. And I've got one last question from you. It's from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. The Instagram is pushing 300,000 followers, and we wanted to ask you what your favorite Pro Tour highlight of all time is. Could be you throwing, could be you acing down in Texas, could be another player. What highlight kind of comes to mind for you?
You mean for this year or last year?
Any year, just any disc golf highlight all time.
How can you know? Of course, I'm gonna love the ones like the Pro Tour Championship, the last throw up hole 18.
Kissing off the pole, that was insane.
Come on, man. How can you not love that one? Because that was like do or die, you know. And I was like almost die, but somehow I have I don't know what's happened right there. I guess I have somebody like look up and help me up there.
It's got to be karma.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
The positivity. They're like, we got you, Ohn.
Yeah, I was like,
we'll put you right here by the basket.
Right? I was like, throw them. I'm like, okay, that's OB. It's no way I can coming back that. I'm like, no way. That's why you see my reaction.
Yeah.
I fall on the ground. I was like rolling on there. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like, how can? And also, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of money on that throw.
There was.
But like I said, that's probably the most moment I remember. It's gonna be remembered for a long time.
Yeah. Well, Ohn, thank you so much for your time. Great to hear that the elbow is healed up, and best of luck at the major this week.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the 2025 Champions Cup. We're here with Kristin Lat. Kristin, I can't recall you playing this course. I can't ever recall you playing in the state of California. Is that correct? Is it your first time here?
Yes, it's my first time in California, first time playing this course. Never really made the trip to the West Coast. I did play Portland a couple years back, but that's all. So I love this area. I wish I came here sooner.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about maybe coming back next year for like the whole like trip and just exploring around the coast and everything, because I just love nature. I don't really care about the city life, but there are so many beautiful national parks here. So, yeah.
Which ones would be on the list?
We went to Yosemite.
Yosemite?
Yosemite?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know how to pronounce it,
Oh,
but
that's all right.
we went there yesterday to check out the giant sequoias.
That's incredible.
But I feel like we need at least 1 week to explore the park. It seemed very nice. I can't remember all the names, but I was Googling yesterday, and there are so many beautiful places here. So
it's beautiful. It's also iconic too. I mean, you see this stuff when I'm sure just you're from Estonia and you see the United States. Those are the things that come up. It's almost a surprise that you haven't been here before and that you haven't played these events. Well, I want to jump right into the event here. What are your thoughts on the major, the Champions Cup, moving from kind of the wooded history at W.R. Jackson, then Northwoods Black, and to this golf course style?
Well, first of all, it's exciting because this major brought me here. I feel like if it wasn't the major, I probably would have skipped it again, and I wouldn't have made a long trip here.
Yeah.
But now I'm here thanks to this being a major, and it's definitely a lot different. And I've told you before that I really loved playing in the woods, and W.R. Jackson definitely was one of my favorite courses. But I also don't mind this type of play. I feel like it's very fair here, fair chances for everyone. I do feel like it favors my game too, a lot of forehands out here. So I don't really mind. I feel like it's a very nice property and very nice course.
Well, what has the preparation looked like for you? When did you arrive, and how many days did you kind of plan to practice?
We arrived on Friday evening. We did play Saturday and Sunday. The weather was awful. And
windy?
It was windy and rainy and cold. And we were jet lagged. And it wasn't properly set up yet because there was an AM tournament here. So we couldn't really understand what was going on, and we were just all over the place, and I feel like I was throwing maybe a little bit too much. My elbow is hurting a little bit, but now I'm kind of like understanding what is going on and which basket we are playing to and what tee pad. So I'm trying to take the morning off tomorrow, play the President's Cup, and then hopefully for Thursday I'm all set.
That's kind of been a recurring theme here, is the complexity of the A and B layout.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the major having such variety at the same venue?
It's not bad. I just couldn't understand it at first. It was confusing. I feel like for the first time I really wanted to have like a physical caddy book, so both layouts are right there in front of my eyes. It was very hard to go like switch back and forth on my phone and to find the tee pads, because like I said, it's our first time here, so we didn't really know how to navigate. But yeah, right now I feel like we've played enough and I understand what's going on and I understand the layout, so it's all about execution now.
Well, Kristin, I want to ask you, do you feel like this being a PDGA major at this point in your career is still going to play into the nerves or the emotions that you feel throughout the week?
Well, we're human, so emotions are always a part of us. But I do feel like I have a lot of experience now, and I know what I'm supposed to do on the course, and the nerves don't really get so easily in the way of my play. But they do sometimes arise, like in random places. You can't really expect them. But I feel like I have the tools to handle them now. So, yeah.
Well, this question is coming from the Disc Golf Pro Tour. The Instagram is getting close to 300,000 followers, and they wanted me to ask you your favorite disc golf highlight of all time. It could be you throwing, coming back at European Open. It could be another player. What's the favorite highlight?
Favorite highlight?
I know you don't watch too much, but I'm sure there's a highlight that can come to mind.
Yeah, I don't even know. I can only tell what's personally for me the highlight. I feel like one of the best moments in my career was my daughter being there with me when I won my second world title. I think it was very special for the both of us, and for me it's the highlight. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Kristin. And here's the PDGA's Hayden Henry.
Hey, Kristin.
Hey.
Hey, continuing the major talk, there was some major news last week about Estonia. Can you tell us what the excitement was like on the ground there when that news was announced?
I kind of knew about it, so I was prepared. But I feel like it's definitely a surprise to many. It's just showing the dedication and hard work Estonians are putting in and how much they love disc golf. And having worlds over there is the result of that. I just remembered when I started playing disc golf like more than 10 years ago, and we were looking up to Finland because they were like the role models, and we were following them and trying to be as good as them. They had all the like big events and best players. And now we've kind of like reached that level where we also can have like big tournaments in Estonia. We have very many good athletes over there. So it's just a testament to hard work and dedication. So we're all very excited, very happy, and I'm sure it's going to be huge.
Yeah, this deal, this 4-year agreement with the build up to 2029 Worlds is unique. And not something that's really happened before. How do you see that team continuing to build that event and look at a second course, and how do you see it just continue to evolve till we get to 2029?
I mean, I just have the trust that they are good at what they do, and they continue to have that same passion they started with when they first got the European Championship organization rights. So I mean, I'm not like thinking about it constantly or worrying about it, because I know that they will do an amazing job, and I'm just happy to be here enjoying it and trying to stay fit and hopefully be part of all the events that take place there.
Well, Estonia is definitely on the map now, and we got to talk about Finland just a little bit. 47 countries as of 2 days ago are going to be represented in the first Worlds in Europe. When you hear that number, what goes through your mind just to truly be a global Worlds?
Yeah, it's amazing, and I feel like that's the way it should be, and that's the way I've dreamed about it being. Many countries represented. So now it's all coming into reality. I know back in Estonia, a lot of like journalists who love to criticize me. They are telling that disc golf is not real sports because there's not enough countries represented in the Worlds. So now there's 47 countries, maybe even there will be more, we don't know. So it's like disc golf is popular in a lot of countries, and I'm hoping that this will be the start of something amazing, and more athletes will be willing to make the trip also over to the States as well.
Well, good luck out there this week. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back into the 2025 press conference for the Champions Cup. They're setting up the course right now. They're putting some stairs in, some bleachers rather, over by hole 1. So pardon the hammering that's going on. We're here with Niklas Anttila. Niklas, been a pretty good year so far. How are you feeling, man?
Yeah, after a slow start, I have been playing, I think, my best disc golf so far. Still feels crazy to say that I won 2 in a row on a disc golf pro tour.
Yeah.
Just disc golf is easy at the moment, and it's not going to last forever. So just enjoying the moment.
Yeah. Well, Niklas, defending a title on the disc golf pro tour, I feel like puts you in your own category. As winning back-to-back, though, I think puts you in an even more coveted category. You just touched on it, but touch on that a little further. I mean, what is that even like to look back on and to know that you won Elite Series back-to-back?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I feel like same thing with majors. It's just like more motivation for me to like defend my title or play for a major championship. So more motivation, and usually I play better that way. So everything went right that week in Austin, and it's just slowly become one of my favorite cities in US as well. So I can't wait to go back there next year as well.
Yeah, Finnish Cowboy round 3, huh? They'll be looking forward to your return, no doubt. And you paired it with the guitar. I mean, you kind of had to go back to Finland, right? To drop the guitar off. What was the break like? You had 2 weeks off?
Yeah, just I think it's mostly like a mental break for me. Just having like 2 to 3 weeks off playing tournaments feels nice, and having like a fresh mindset going into major was important for me. And I just hang out with my friends, with my family, played some tennis, played some paddle, and then just went to like 5 or 6 hockey games as well. Actually, my home team went to the finals for the 3rd time ever, and they have a chance to win for the 1st time. So that was also nice, and
wow,
just living normal life, I guess.
So is that the Finnish like Premier Hockey League?
Yeah, like Finnish Hockey League.
Yeah.
That's like the highest level they have in Finland.
Cool. Well, Niklas, outside of what you just said was your best disc golf at the 2 Elite Series that you won, I feel like I've seen you play your best disc golf at the majors. I think back to the 21 USDGC and then Worlds last year. I feel like we've seen the best version of you at the majors.
Yep.
But they've been for 2nd place, right? They've been for podiums. What do you need to do to kind of push through that wall?
I think the difference between like 1st and 2nd is small details. In major championship, it's like 4 or 5 rounds over like 4 or 5 days. So it's going to be a couple of missed putts, a couple of OB strokes, and you're losing the tournament. So it's really easy to say like afterwards, but I just feel like I just like the idea of like majors or Grand Slams in any sports, and it's more interesting for the players, for the fans as well. So as I said, more motivation to play, and I think that's why I have played so good so far in the majors. Still looking for the 1st place, but I think it's coming. My time will come for sure.
Well, there was a time where I felt like some fans, even myself, could have put you in a box that maybe the power course wasn't your forte, right? But I feel like that time is over. What do you feel like how do you feel like your skill set sets up for a power course like the Swenson Park Golf Club?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think coming back here, like the difference between last year playing this tournament and now coming back feels like completely different tournament to me, because I think I have got like even like 10 to 20 feet more distance. I feel like it helps a lot on these holes, and then I just feel like if I'm feeling good, my throwing feels good. I think I don't care where I'm playing. I'm competing for the championship for sure. I think I played 11 down yesterday for the A basket, so I'm feeling good about this course, and it's just like executing easy shots after easy shots for me, and then just making putts and don't go OB.
Well, can you kind of touch on that dynamic between the A and B layout? It's not something we see too often on the tour. How do you feel about it?
I think playing the course for the 1st time was a little bit confusing, like having 2 different holes, like 2 tee pads and 2 baskets. But I think that's a good way to like make the course a little bit different for like every day. And then I just like, in my opinion, we should have same tee pad every time, and then just like move the baskets. That way it's easier for fans, for players to learn the course, because I think we only had like 3 days to practice. But just I'm playing the holes. I don't care. I think they're fine.
Niklas, thank you for your time. Here's PDGA's Hayden Henry.
Thank you.
Hey, Niklas.
What's up?
You said, went back to the normal life when you went back home for a couple weeks, but I saw that you were kind of on a little press tour with UC, doing some radio and some TV and some things. So just, tell us the hype of, and the excitement that's building in Finland right now for Pro Worlds.
Yeah, I'm doing live radio for like the promotion for the World Championships in Finland. My 1st time doing radio, it was crazy experience to see how it like, how they did it in Finland. It's crazy. I think just going back to Finland and like seeing all the fans and all my friends, it was. I can see that they are waiting for July and August to come to really see like all the best players in Finland and see the best disc golf. It's going to be a crazy week in Finland. I can tell it already. Just can't wait.
You got 47 countries represented, which is a record. What does that mean to have that record, be at the first Pro Worlds in Europe, in Finland, and have all those players represented?
It means a lot to me. I think we can see that disc golf in Finland is really interesting and people like to come there. They have seen European Open year after year, and I feel like that's one of the best tournaments in disc golf. So I think it's thanks to Jussi and his team and everyone in Finland doing the tournaments. Just privilege to be a Finnish disc golfer this year and play in my home country.
What can fans expect, whether they're going to be there in person or watching on the Disc Golf Network? Like what are they going to do to take it to the next level? You know, European Open's always been so great, but what can they expect when Pro Worlds comes to Finland?
Yeah, I've heard some crazy things about the tournament, like how many spectators we are expecting. Everything's going to be crazy. I wish we are going to have a good weather on Sunday. I think we will see like 10 to 15,000 people in a small area in Nokia. Just wishing for good weather on that day, and it's going to be a day to remember for sure.
Looking forward to that day. Looking forward to this weekend. Good luck out there. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back into the Champions Cup press conference. We're here with Ella Hansen. Ella, got some good memories here.
Yeah.
I know you do. What's it like returning to the site where you broke through a big barrier in your career?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, yeah, definitely a lot of emotions here. I think even before winning, like, this was always a special place and special course to me. This was like one of the first pro tours I ever played, and OTB was one of my first sponsors, and so just being here and being around the OTB shop definitely feels pretty special. It's funny, like, practicing the holes, and you know, there's a lot of similarities, and kind of, you know, remembering what I did last year, and some of them I'm like have an inclination to kind of change it up, maybe throw a mid or instead of a fairway or whatever, something like that, and I'm like second guessing myself, like, should I change anything? But, you know, you got to trust yourself.
Yeah, and then that all kind of changes when you get in the game, right? Like, you just go back to the intuition.
Yeah.
But yeah, you brought up a memory for me too. It was just like right up the road at the major where you performed really well. I think you got did you get third place?
Yeah, I got third at my first major.
At your first major, I remember that with Paige Pierce and I think Haley King.
Yep.
You were battling it with, and then this was after that. Right?
Yeah, I think it was the week after.
Yeah, I remember. So that there was all this chatter about who this person was that just like stepped into the sport and could compete at the top level. And, you know, to follow that up with a question, how have you changed as a player and a person since that young Ella Hansen took a podium at your first major?
Yeah, no, it's really fun for me to be playing out at this course because, like, thinking about my decision making, obviously a lot of the holes are different. There's probably only 4 or 5 maybe that are the same or very similar to what they were back in 2021. But there's also just like thinking about, you know, my game. I think my forehand has really come a long way, and you know, there's a lot of roller opportunities out here, and I think I'm going roller off one tee, but you know, I was probably trying to force a lot of rollers just to get as much distance as possible back when I was first playing. So, yeah, it's cool. And I think, like I was saying, the forehand, I think, has really become a key tool for me and way more consistent. I think I had the potential to throw pretty far back then with backhand and forehand, but definitely I think just that consistency and, like, really trusting that I can see a shot and execute it rather than like seeing what I think a shot could look like and like hoping and praying that that's how it would turn out.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well with the forehand, Ella. I mean, the forehand no doubt led you to the victory down in Florida. I mean, literally with the back-to-back-to-back shots on the playoff on 18. But I want to ask you, what do you think it is that has allowed you to kind of hone in on the craft and to the mistakes just seem to be lessening? Right, the big mistakes, the big numbers, that seems to be the difference for me when I look at you as a player. Is that the ceiling hasn't changed too much, but the mistakes have just lessened. How have you done that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something I've been aware of since I started playing, and like I could see my potential as a player and knew that like I had to bring the floor up in order to be a competitive player. So I think for me, especially on a course like this, it's like looking at where I want an error to be, like how much can I throw inbounds? You know, if for say like hole 18, it's like you've got out of bounds water all around the green, but also just like, sorry, my bad, short of the green. And so just, you know, for me, I'm throwing a forehand there because I want to be able to stay over inbounds as long as I can. And if I do go out, like I have a putt for par, you know, like things like that, where it's just kind of trying to see both kind of balancing that, what the course looks like, what the OB looks like, with what my skills are and my strengths are. And so trying really to, just balance those. And I feel like I have really been figuring that out in a big way in the past couple of years.
Cool. Well, I want to jump right into the layout this year for the major. Sean Jack, Sean Mercy, Leonard Muse, when they got the major bid, they knew or they felt like they needed to increase the difficulty of the track and also have more variety. And so they've added this A and B layout situation. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, as we all know, like there are inherent limitations to having a tournament on a golf course like this. And I think that this is like a very creative way of sort of trying to make the tournament as interesting as possible, make the layout as interesting as possible. I think in some ways, like it's pretty overwhelming as a player because you look at it and it's kind of just like, you know, a lot of times there's like maybe one or two A and B pins on a course and you just practice them both. But out here, it's if you're practicing them all, you're throwing so many shots. You're literally playing like 28 holes, like plus, you know, obviously throwing a bunch of practice shots. I think Leonard told me there's 37 baskets on the course. So it is a little overwhelming, and I think that for me, like just sort of trying to see it as two separate courses is pretty helpful. Just trying to kind of separate that, and you know, you have to have a prepared mind going into your practice rounds, just so that it's useful, because I think it's easy to kind of like just chuck out here, you know.
Well, Ella, you've pushed through that Elite Series barrier. What are you going to have to do to kind of push through that next milestone in your career? And do you even feel the extra weight of this event because it is a major?
I mean, it's definitely there. I think that, you know, we're all aware of that. I think it's interesting always to kind of play a tournament as an Elite Series or a Pro Tour or whatever, and then have it sort of that same event become a major. And you know, it does. I think in some ways this event might play to my advantage just because I love being here. I love hanging out at the shop and just being in the parking lot. I finally have my van back. I've been flying to a bunch of tournaments, and now I'm back in my van, which is...
Does that feel good?
It feels so good. So, you know, it's in some ways it's nice to just like have it feel more like a fun event rather than this super scary major with all this pressure.
Sneak it in.
Right, exactly.
Just have fun, play some golf, and now I'm a major champion.
Yeah, hopefully, you know.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I obviously want to win a major. And I know kind of that's like what's up next. And yeah, we're going to try to have fun, play good.
Well, Ella, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck and finding that groove that leads to that first major title. We look forward to watching you compete.
Thank you, Nate.
We'll be right back. right, welcome back into the press conference. We're here now with Calvin Heimburg. Calvin, you got some good memories out here. I'm looking over at the green of 17, that putt into the wind. What's it like returning to a property that you've played well at and taken a title at?
Yeah, it's always a good feeling. Yeah, I've played well out here in the past. They're constantly changing the course out here, so there's different elements every year you come, but I feel like the style of play is always the same. So I feel really good about the style of play out here. This week there's a lot of new stuff for us to take in, and it's kind of a short week, 4-round tournament and then President's Cup on Wednesday. So it's a short week, a lot to learn real quick, but I'm feeling pretty good. Well,
how much has the layout changed the dynamic of the course? I know that in the past, even the tournament director, Sean Jack, called it the low ceiling open because you have to throw power shots pretty low off the ground. Did they kind of steer away from that theme a lot?
I don't think so. I think it's a lot of the same, and there's even some more low ceiling elements that kind of come in play on some of the newer changes. But I think there's still quite a bit of low ceiling. There's not a ton of places where you can just like throw it really high in the air. So you definitely have to keep it lower to the ground, and I feel like that's something I do well.
Yeah. Well, a lot of players have been touching on the complexity of the A and B layout. How has that presented a challenge to you to prepare?
Yeah, I think on the first day when I got out here Monday morning, it was confusing. The tee signs weren't out yet, and I think that definitely didn't help because I was juggling 2 different caddy books and trying to figure it out. But once the tee signs were out and I had driven it once, everything seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that you see is like there's basically an entire layout. I'm not actually too familiar on which hole pins are A and B yet. I've just been going out and playing all of them, so I need to kind of figure out which layout has what. But I think one of the layouts is essentially all what we played last year with a couple little minor changes, and then there's I don't know how many new alternate pins, maybe like 9 or 10. I don't know, but stuff for us to learn. But I think it really hasn't been too bad. It was overwhelming at first, but once I kind of just settled in, I think some of it was just, knowing it was a short week and seeing how many changes there were, it was a little overwhelming. But I honestly think it's something that we need more of in disc golf. I really like the alternate pins. I think when we go out and we play the same course over and over again on the exact same pin layouts, I feel like it's a little monotonous. And then I also think that you can kind of challenge different skills. Like, for example, hole 2 right behind us here, we have the same tee shot, but, you put a pin on the left and a pin on the right, and it can, drastically change, what the approach looks like. And I think that can, favor some players one way and some players another way. And also, I think sometimes when we play the exact same layout over and over again, if you get dialed on it, it's almost like, it's almost impossible to like catch someone that is dialed, because like the odds of them making the mistake once they're locked in, it's super low. So when you have the change, it gives I think it'll give more chances for some stroke swings and people just not being quite as locked in.
Yeah, that's a fresh take. We haven't heard that yet today. Appreciate your insight on that. Well, Calvin, I want to jump into the difficult question of what is it that has kept you from taking down a major so far in your career? Yeah,
I mean, you get 4 opportunities a year. I mean, not even always, some of the years I've been on tour, but yeah, I just haven't ever, played 4 good rounds at the right tournament. So, or 5, I guess, if you could talk about Worlds. But I mean, it's a long tournament. You really got to string them all together. And, I mean, it's not easy. You get way less opportunities. So it's something that's hard to do, and I just haven't done it.
Is that something that even weighs in on you, or do you feel like, fans, the internet, they are too zoomed in on the magnitude of major titles?
I mean, obviously, I think they're our biggest events, so they are very important. I don't know that it really weighs on me, especially in this moment, because everything's so chaotic this week. There's not really any time to like really sit down and think about it. I'm just trying to make sure I know where I want to throw my shots. But I think, I think short term, like right now, obviously I'd want to win one, but it's
Yeah.
not like eating at me. I think it's like one of those things that as like a fan, it's something you look at, because I guess when you really talk about like the legacy of a player or whatnot, that is like one of the first things you look at. Like, it's like, how many major titles did they win?
Yeah.
So I think like that's really where that weighs the most.
Yeah.
And I'm not super concerned with that now. I guess be concerning yourself with legacy when you're playing seems like a weird thing to do. I mean,
Sure.
I want to win this tournament. I'm going to try to win this tournament.
Yeah.
And whether or not that happens, we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, do you feel like the pressure of a major has at all played a role in the past, or do you feel like that's unfair because it really is just about less opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you've been there in the past, and it feels like there's a narrative that you can't close. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had my opportunities. I wouldn't say there's like been a ton. Honestly, I don't know. There might only have been like one major that I've ever even been leading going into the final round. But I've definitely been there and had my opportunities to maybe, chase someone down, and never have done it. But yeah, I'd have to really go back and think. I think the only one I can really think of that really hurt was European Open a couple years ago. But
I feel like U.S. in the rain.
Yeah, U.S. in the rain, but like I was also 10 strokes back going into that round. So, I mean, and then, yeah, 17
Worlds
got me.
in 21.
Yep, I don't think I was leading going into that round. I could be wrong, though. But I was there. I mean, I was with a couple. So, like, I definitely get the narrative. They definitely seen me on enough lead cards going into the final round. But, yeah, I haven't done it. I don't know.
Yeah, and they're tough questions, Calvin. And I want to ask you: does the preparation at all differ? You said it's chaotic this week. Does that at all, come from it being a major, or is that just because of the A/B layout, the short week?
I think the chaos this week is maybe just more so being a short week. It's essentially 2 free practice days, and then we throw President's Cup, which I'm not a huge fan of us doing right before a major.
Okay.
We continuously do that. Like, we just moved it from European Open to here.
Yeah.
I like the event, but like realistically, I have 2 free practice days to go learn this course. But I think in general the chaos isn't really due to it being a major. It's just how much is going on this week.
Cool. Well, so where should we move President's Cup?
I think ideally we make it its own thing eventually. I think it should be a longer form event. Maybe we take some notes off of the Ryder Cup that you see in golf. I really like the format. I think it's really cool. We get in some match play involved.
Yeah.
I just think when we slap it as like 2 9-hole bouts on the day before a major, when like we probably should be locked in on something completely different, just feels a little weird to me. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do think the event has a place, and I think it would be really cool to expand on it.
Well, Calvin, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck on your quest for your first major title this week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the Champions Cup press conference. We're here now with PDGA Director Doug Bjerkaas. Doug, how are you doing, man?
Good, Nate. It's good to see you. Always good to see you out here on the road.
Yeah, great to see you. And walk us through the year. What's it been like stepping into the role of the director even further?
Well, it's been a busy year, that's for sure. Lots of exciting things have been happening. Being here in California for the Champions Cup is kind of one of the high points for me, because it was a decision we made to bring a major out to California, to the West Coast, which for a while we haven't had one, specifically with the MPO. So I know there's lots of excitement here on the West Coast to see the best disc golfers in the world play, and excited to see that. And then you throw the President's Cup on top of it. That kind of transpired this year as well. So excited to see that happen. Disc golf is in a unique position, but in a position that is getting healthier and healthier. And we've started to see lots of great signs at the PDGA that we're kind of coming out from under the post-pandemic era, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the sport's just too awesome for people to not keep playing it, and more new people to play it. And we're seeing more new members than we've seen in the past, which is good. So it's been good. Yeah,
that's great to hear. On the major topic, when was the last combined major out here? Do we go back all the way to 2014 Worlds?
I believe that would be the last time. There was a U.S. Women's out here.
Yeah, just up the street in Rockland.
Yeah, for the FPO. But I think it's been over 10 years for the MPO to be here playing.
And then specifically California, outside the U.S. Women's, I think 2011 Santa Cruz.
That would make sense too. Yeah. There was Worlds in Santa Cruz, and of course the Worlds in Portland was legendary. But it's good to get out here. Plus,
it is.
Having spent a lot of Aprils in Emporia, Kansas, where it rains and it's windy, this is just fantastic.
This is a big step up.
Yep.
This is a big step up, no doubt. And it does. Disc golf has its roots in California, right? And it felt like California was kind of the epicenter of disc golf for a while, so it is cool to return to this area. I want to ask you, how much of a role does the PDGA play in the Champions Cup, as far as whether it be course design or anything involved here at Swenson, or are you guys just hands off?
No, it's kind of a collaborative effort. Sometimes it depends on the LOC that we're working with, but the Champions Cup is such a unique event. I mean, in 23, my first event as a PDGA employee was at the IDGC, and it was utopia.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful course, a beautiful setting, everything's great. Then you throw on top of that a pine beetle infestation, and then right after that, Hurricane Holyn, and it's just we can't catch a break out there. So the Champions Cup itself has been a unique major because it's been moving around. I mean, it was in Peoria last year. Mm-hmm. Now it's on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. Next year, as we announced a couple weeks ago, it'll be in Lynchburg at New London. So it's kind of moving around while we're waiting on the IDGC to see how quickly that can bounce back. And
so the goal is to get back there.
The goal is to get back to the IDGC, 100%. The PDGA would love to be able to host that event at the IDGC. Now there's been talk maybe every other year or something like that, but the place is, if you look at, every year I see these lists of pros top courses. There's always a handful of pros that W.R. Jackson has been the course that they say was their favorite. So, and the course is important. So, we hope to get back there soon. It's not this weekend, and it won't be next year because we'll be next spring in Lynchburg, but 27 at the earliest, maybe 28, we hope to get back there.
All right. Well, what are your first impressions arriving to the property here in Stockton?
So this is actually the second time I've been here. When we made the decision to see if the Sean Jack, Sean Mercy, Andy, the whole team here, if they were willing to run this, I came out to look at the course and saw the OTB in action. It was last year. I was here last year and was blown away by how perfect this property is for hosting a disc golf tournament. I mean, if you let's talk about the course last, but if you take everything else, the parking, the facilities, the spectating, the vending, all of those things that make a tournament an event, and these guys just knock it out of the park. It's fantastic. And then what they've done to the course, there's a lot of people will have good things and bad things to say about disc golf courses that are on ball golf courses.
Yeah.
But man, I think these guys here with Leonard's course design and what the team here has done, they get the most out of this property to put together a very exciting course that's going to be fun to watch. So yeah, as soon as I walked in, my first thought was, man, there are times when I used to run events where I thought, I wish I had this parking lot, or I wish I had that space, or the warm-up area is even just right here. It's a special place. So yeah, and the weather's going to be fantastic.
It is. Yeah, it could be scorching hot out here. We're getting lucky.
Yep.
Well, Doug, I want to segue just a little bit and zoom out just a little bit. As the director, how are you able to know what you should really be focusing on to really grow your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that I and many of my colleagues have put a lot of thought into, because if you think about it, the real reason that you would join the PDGA, there's one school of thought where everyone thinks, well, you join the PDGA because you love disc golf. Well, the real reason you join the PDGA is because you want to play organized, sanctioned tournaments.
Yeah.
You want to play in a sanctioned league. You want to play in a C tier, a B tier, an A tier. Maybe get good enough to play in an elite series or a major at some point. And that is the core business of the PDGA.
Yeah.
Yet we also do a lot of things with helping folks like Edge and Uplay and Paul Macbeth Foundation and do those things to actually grow the sport, try to get maybe into more schools, get more clubs going. You know, there's all kinds of things that we can do to help grow the sport. But at the end of the day, we have to balance that with really our bread and butter, where all of our membership dollars flow into the organization, is because people want to play those events. So it's kind of twofold. You can grow the PDGA two ways, really. One, you can just focus on getting more people playing disc golf, knowing that a percentage of those will eventually want to play sanctioned tournaments.
Yeah.
Or, which is what we're focusing on right now, is really improve the way tournaments are facilitated and that they're delivered. And you may have seen that we have a new TD training program that was just released. We're looking at a bunch of ways to empower the TDs to run the best events possible, because if you're running a good event, I tell people this all the time, if you're a TD, your players will vote with their feet. If they like your event, they're going to sign up next year. And we need those types of events. I mean, all of us have been to a bad PDGA event. You know, we just need to get better at what we're doing, and that's the other way we can grow those numbers. And perhaps then the pool of all the people that play disc golf, they might get that itch to go, whoops, sorry about that. They might get that itch to say, hey, I want to sign up to play an actual tournament.
Yeah.
And if those tournaments have a great reputation, you know, where you and I have played tournaments, you get fired up. You want to go play a tournament. If we can get that going for more disc golfers, they might want to take it up a notch and actually join the PDGA. But it's the sport is, we've got this whole platform on which disc golf lives, and sanctioned events are one part of it. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and we just got to keep after it. I tell everybody this, anybody that's listening, if you want to do your part to really grow the sport, not just the PDGA, not just a manufacturer, not just the Disc Golf Pro Tour, not just any of the individual players on the platform. We just need more people playing to experience throwing a Frisbee into a basket. And I would encourage everybody that's listening, man, invest in some friends and take them out to play. You know, if you talk to people, I'm sure if I asked you how you got into disc golf, there was probably somebody that invested some time in you to show you the sport. And now look at you, you've made a career out of it. So that's what we need. We need more people, getting more people to play. And that solves all the problems.
Doug, thank you so much for your time, and hope you enjoy the show this week.
I'm sure I will.
We'll see you out there.
I will.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the Champions Cup. We've got a couple special guests here in front of us. We've got Avery Jenkins, Jussi Mieresma. We've got the President's Cup approaching. It's tomorrow. We've got the captains here. Avery, you're the captain of the United States team. Jussi for Team Europe. And I'm going to ask you first, Jussi, what is it like seeing the President's Cup cross the Atlantic and arrive here in the States?
Well, Nate, this is a special moment, especially for me. I mean, as a creator of this President Cup 2006, it's been almost 20 years.
2006.
Sorry, 2006. I still can't put my thoughts really on this, what's going to happen tomorrow, because it's such a weird but pleasure-like the switch, because I've been on the back end of this, on the backside, and now I'm kind of the leading team to a potential win over US for the first time, which is obviously our goal. So it's a special moment, and I never thought that it would feel. Almost like I stopped playing disc golf professionally. Actually, 10 years ago was my last PDGA tournament. Whoa. And it feels like that I'm going into one tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Jussi, another one for you. How were you able to remain open to letting another team host the President's Cup? Is that strictly because you're hosting the World Championships this year and you didn't feel like you would be able to give it your all?
This has been a longer process to think about, okay, what is the future of the President's Cup and how we should treat it as a sport, because obviously this is modeled through the Golf Ryder Cup, which is a very special team event. And I think that the one thing that makes it very special is that it has to have the international and the US flavor. So obviously I'm not running tournaments here in the US, so I can't really support that. And also I felt that the PDGA would be the right entity to run this kind of an event, which is a team event that brings everybody together. So I feel that this is the right home for the President's Cup.
Cool. Well, Avery, team captain this year, but I want to ask you, what has your experience been with the President's Cup? Were you there in 06 at its inception?
Oh yeah.
Can you touch on it?
This is, again, a special moment. Coming full circle from the creation of this in 2006 to, 19 years later with Jussi, founding this a great event. And then I was on the early, teams in 2006, 2007, 2009, and then I was a captain in 2013. So, good experience of being a part of these, awesome moments throughout sports history within disc golf. And I think it's one of the coolest things we have going in disc golf, the camaraderie, the internationality, having the U.S. versus Europe. I think it's one of the greatest rivalries that we're trying to boost. And I think it was just really cool to be in the inception, the early years as a player, and then, eventually pulling in on the side of, being a captain, and it's quite an honor.
So your last time being a captain 12 years ago, 2013.
Yeah.
What is that honor like, and what is that burden like of being the captain? What happens if Team USA loses?
I think it's one of those things where it's out of my hands, honestly. I can be a captain. We can arrange the team. I think a lot of it has to do with the seeding. That's what I'm in control of. But also keeping the positive mindset of the players. That's one thing I can influence or at least help inspire. But it's all on the players. You know, they're in charge of their destiny. And as I was with all the great teams before, a lot of great champions, a lot of great world champions, U.S. champions, and this year's no different. We got some competitors on our side, so it's all on their backs. And I'm going to help guide and inspire the best I can.
Well, so Jussi, what does the captain's role? They're choosing the seeds. Is that still a blind situation where they don't know the other team's seeding?
It is.
Can you kind of touch on the dynamic at play there?
Well, I've seen it obviously from the different perspective, and we haven't really met with our team here yet. So we're definitely going to talk about it. I want to include my players into this kind of a process because they're going to make the work, like Avery said. But it's going to be a strategic discussion between my 6 players, and obviously we are trying to find a mix that will work for us.
Well, Avery, this is your longtime friend and business partner, fellow disc golfer. Are you going to be able to tap into some history to kind of know what UC might be thinking on the seeding side of things to kind of play into that?
Yeah, we have a lot of history. We go back from player side, playing competitor side, him being an event organizer for the European Open, and running the show at the President's Cup for all these years. But to be colleagues and working for the same company for many years, this is momentous. And for us to go toe-to-toe, head-to-head, and in such an event, bringing it to the U.S. stateside for the second time in its history, feeling good about it. There's going to be a lot of fun just to go through the strategy. I can't predict this guy. He's been unpredictable his entire career with the business decisions, even play on the course. It's who he is and how he marks himself as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to strategize how we need to strategize, and I do have my groupings kind of in mind on how things are going to best lay out. But with 8 players, 6 men and 2 women, it's really going to just play out to the groupings, I think, and how those players are going to best suit and compare. We have some top-rated players, some world-class players, and how they want to line up. Do you take a number 1 and put them to 6 or vice versa? It really depends on the strategy and how it's going to work out the best.
Well, UC, can you kind of touch on the format for the event this year? I know there was some talk about it changing. Can you expand?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what I said to the PDGA, that okay, this is now yours to handle, and obviously that was quite a short notice when we did this transition over the last half a year. So the format is going to stay pretty much the identical that it has been for a long time. So there will be 2 9-hole loops that the players will play, obviously first as a score, and then head-to-head, which is kind of the most interesting part. So I really like that there are no changes for this year, at least at the moment. I feel that when the changes are going to happen, I think that they are more like the tournament format level changes, because this is very short tournament. It is only, potentially less than 18 holes they are going to play. So anything can happen. And of course, when this tournament has grown over the years, the level of meaning has also grown. So I feel that probably in a couple of years we need this tournament to grow a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Well, what would it mean for Team Europe to win this year?
We were talking before this with Avery that I remember at least 4 times that it's been pretty much at the end, it's just one pairing that makes the decision. So Europe has been very close to win this trophy a couple times, and I don't see any reason why it couldn't be tomorrow the same. And of course the first win out of this tournament would obviously be the most remembered. So it's a monumental moment for the Team Europe tomorrow.
Well, Avery, I want you to offer us some history from some of those past events. Do you remember some times where Europe was close and Team USA had to clutch up?
I remember a lot of times it was close. Like you said, it comes down to those pairings, those head-to-head battles on that second round. And we were just talking about before this, I remember walking up the fairway 18, at Nokia, at the Beast, and we're trying to tabulate the scores, hearing scores from, 3 cards back, and walking up the fairway after the tee shot, Macbeth lands in bounds, and he comes running to me, what's the score, where are we at? I'm like, you need to birdie this hole to lock this in. We're that close. Wow. It's coming down to the final point. And the tee shot in 18, up the hill, elevated basket, scoreboard on the hill, and he cured the shot as he does on many European Open chances, but for everything on the line to win a President's Cup, to knock down a birdie and win the President's Cup overall, it came down to that final shot. Whether or not it was other shots on the course, that was the one I remember because it came down to that final throw that Macbeth had up there to birdie it. So, and I know you probably remember several other times, but it's been, I think, getting closer and closer every single year. The skill level of the players at Europe, they've been elevating, and they're winning tournaments over here now, winning Disc Golf Pro Tour events, with Niklas and obviously with Simon. So it's going to be a great battle, and it is about the pairings on who they're going to face. And we got some veterans on the team, though. That's all I'll say. We got some world champs on the team that hopefully bring the weight, but they got some world champions on the female side, though, too. And that's gonna weigh out really nice to see those kind of battles.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you here. We really look forward to the action tomorrow. UC, Avery, great to see you both, and really best of luck to both of you and the event.
Thank you, Nate.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back into the press conference here at the 2025 Champions Cup. Here in front of us, we have Sean Jack on our left, Sean Mercy on our right. You guys make up the 1,000 rated productions team. I believe this is your 7th edition of this event. Mm-hmm. Sean Mercy, kind of touch on what it means to be awarded the major this year.
To be completely honest, I wasn't super gung-ho about it when he first mentioned it 2 years ago, I think. 2023, we were just kind of talking through it. But eventually, I was able to get comfortable with it, and now I'm super excited that we did it.
Yeah. Well, Sean Jack, what does the preparation look like, and is it any different? Did you feel like more pressure or more weight to kind of have your event lead the way?
Yeah, this is just more and more. I mean, for lack of better English, it's first of all, it's a 5-day tournament now that we have President's Cup.
Yeah.
We took on the challenge of building out 10 unique holes. Mm-hmm. So there's just more course prep, which admittedly Sean handles much more than I do, if any. Everything is about like 30% more across the board. Whether it's operations, ticketing, media. Just like I was joking with him earlier, this is the busiest day of my life. This is our second time we've been either on a podcast or on being something recorded.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have so many phone calls. He's like, I got more than you. And
Wow.
I had 29 phone calls and you had 32.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's just more. It's just a lot.
It's up to 38.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. And,
I mean, can you kind of touch on how you manage that, and how do you determine what what takes priority in the final moments before the event kicks off?
He handles the course stuff.
Okay.
Pretty much, like anything, and I've told at least 3 or 4 people today, like, stop talking to me about this. I don't have the bandwidth. Please talk to Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe not that direct, but yeah. And then I handle mostly like anything not course related, event related. You know, most vendors or staging, sound, and bleachers, and he certainly helps there. But I'm more outside. I'm more like exterior, and he's more interior.
Well, we've heard a lot from the players about the complexity that the A and B layout have added to the event. And Sean Mercy, can you kind of touch on the intention behind having so many unique pin positions and several different holes?
Yeah, I think the intent is really just to to create a platform that's more compelling for a 4-round event. We've only ever done a 3-round event on the Pro Tour. And with being a major, you know, obviously expectations for the quality and just diversity and how the course plays all comes into play. But I think we felt really uncomfortable running the same layout, even with different basket positions 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
So very early on, we had already talked about basically creating an alternate layout. So we ended up with an A layout and a B layout. Only 8 of those holes are the same. Mm-hmm. It all plays in the same routing, same space.
Forgive me, just don't go too deep into this because you're going to be on this exact presser in 10 minutes with Leonard Muse.
That's all right. No, that's
Thanks.
great. I love the thoughts behind the intent there. And Sean, Jack, I'll transition to you. I want to ask you, you've mentioned to me that you pride the event on the player experience and the fan experience. And you've cultivated something special here, right? You feel like the combination of the two is kind of leading the way amongst disc golf. Can you kind of illuminate how you guys have been able to make that happen?
It's just something I'm mindful of. Like promotion is kind of in my blood. Like going back to high school, I threw a concert for like 1,000 people my senior year. So it's just, I love throwing parties, and I'm very mindful of like guest experience. And you know, this venue, you know, maybe it's not the best on tour, but it's really good as far as everyone can park on site. Players have private parking. The putting is right next to where they park. There's a dedicated driving range. The fans can watch all those things up close and personal. And I would say that, you know, Maple Hill is probably a better spectator experience because of hole 8, hole 14, the vibe. But it's not the best, you know, player experience because of the constraints of the course. And maybe European Open is a better player experience because, you know, they're treated like gods. Or look at European Disc Golf Festival.
Yeah.
But I think when you take the two, combine them together, there's not many events that provide both for both. Like it's something we really, really try and spend a lot of money on. You know, we're like almost $70,000 on, you know, production value for the spectators, and hopefully it comes out. And people really enjoy it.
Well, Sean Mercy, I want to ask you about just the event being in Stockton, right? This is not a destination by any means, and how were you able to land here and continue betting on this venue and the Visitors Bureau? Can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely more on his side of things, but high level, 2020, fall of 2020, we'd had to cancel the 2020 SFO, which was scheduled to run in May because of COVID. And that fall, we were thinking about what's the chances that it'll be canceled again if we try to run it at Glen Eagles. And we thought there was a pretty good chance that it would be problematic again in San Francisco.
The city was shut down,
especially for fans.
And so Sean actually came out here, I think it was late October, early November, something like that, and met with Danny Corbett and Crash, Craig Gustafson. Craig Gustafson, who's a longtime NorCal TD, done lots of events, including Boont Fling, pretty notoriously fun event out in Boonville, and Joe Smith, the GM at the time. And he called me on the drive back from the meeting, and he's like, I think we might be moving to Stockton for this event. And I was like, no way. So anyways, that was how it all started, and we kind of took a leap that first year for sure. We only took over the top half of the course, the property, I should say. And we had golfers running concurrently with our disc golf tournament.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And coming out of that year, everything went so well. I think everybody was on the exact same page that we were going to do it again here.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly we coalesced around renting the entire property, which led to the big redesign in 2022.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Sean, Jack, now you guys have cultivated something special in an unexpected place, and you refer to Swenson Park as kind of a little oasis, and I kind of feel the same, right? Driving around Stockton, I'm like, I don't know if I'm in the right place, and then I pull into Swenson, and that all just kind of drifts away.
Yeah.
Can you kind of touch on how special this property is, and what you guys have been able to do?
One, it's 5 seconds off I-5, right? So if you want to get here from Central Valley, Tahoe, Bay Area, like, it's very easy to get to, accessible. We can draw from 3 to 4 major metropolitan, densely populated areas, and then it's a 200 acres.
120 to 140, something like that.
Yeah, so it's a large property. I think there are 2 to 3 dozens of species of trees. It is probably the home of the most ground squirrels in the world. I think there's like a Mexico City amount of squirrels below me right now.
Might be my least favorite part of the property.
Yeah, but there's beautiful foxes, redwood trees, and so many water features, and it's just such a pleasant place to be. I think starting with the amateur weekend, it sets like the tone of the vibe of the event, where people are just pretty happy when they're here. Like everyone's just calm, cool, collective, and it's got a great vibe. And
I'd say it's especially at this time of year.
Yeah, I mean right now it's 78 degrees with a light breeze.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good week.
It is.
The weather's looking pretty good.
He bragged about the weather in order to get the bid, and he was right. And it rained during the AM weekend, like a few days ago, which caused the course to kind of change a couple levels of different, Pantone different with green, and it just looks spectacular.
All right. Well, what will define success for the event this week?
Financially, I'd love to see ticket sales be up 25% year over year, at minimum. That was our goal. Right now, we're trending that way. As few fires to put out as possible. I love driving around during the tournament. I'll even grab like a cart and go pick up people in the parking lot and take them back and forth to Party Island and not tell them I'm a tournament director, just to hear what they have to say. So those anecdotes are really important to me.
Yeah.
The players having a good time. Like, we constantly ask the players, like, how are you doing? Can we answer any questions? Did we make any mistakes? And fixing them. We still have one more day tomorrow. I know President's Cup is tomorrow, but we can still fix things last minute. We're a very nimble, resourceful team, and we want things to be perfect.
All right. Well, Sean Mercy, how about the switch for the finishing hole on hole 18? Can you kind of talk about the intent behind it, and also what that's going to add to the spectator experience?
We sort of backed into it, I would say. What prompted sort of even considering that, aside from it being possibly the best hole on the layouts from past years, is that we wanted to make the stage even bigger than last year. So we basically keep adding on like 10 to 12 feet and go wider every year. And in the old location, we didn't have any more space. So we were pretty crowded last year. So that led to Leonard searching every corner of this property with the constraints that we have for the stage, right? It can't be way off in the middle of nowhere. And we initially landed on a golf green that is about 120 feet to the right of the stage that where it is today. And then a tree fell about a month ago, big oak tree, and it led to us redesigning the hole, which ended up putting us where we are now.
Wow.
So because our hole 1 is there, old hole 18 became hole 2, and that naturally led to hole 17 becoming 18.
All right.
Which is like a happy accident.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like,
and the tree falling was a ridiculous.
How did we not have that be 18 before?
Yeah.
It's just a long walk for the players to finish. I think that's the one, negative part.
Okay. Yeah, the green of 17 back in the corner
versus
over
the
there.
green of 18 being right over here. It's like, par 2 to their campers.
Yeah, I think our old 18 worked out really well. As you know, it finished right here.
Yeah.
It worked out really well for the events that we did run using it. But it's also a great hole too. And back to your initial question, I think having the championship moments down on that in that area is going to be electric.
Special.
It really is.
Well, because Party Island used to like kind of die down.
Yeah.
When people moved off of hole.
If they wanted to see the finish, they had to bail.
Yeah. So now everyone can just stay there all day long.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to those finishing moments on Sunday, and thank you guys both for the work that you put into this event, and thanks for your time here.
Thank you so much. Come on out and see us.
Thank you, Nate.
All right. And that is we will be right back with one more guest. We've got the course designer, Leonard Muse. All right. All right, welcome back in. We've got Sean Mercy still and Leonard Muse, course designer. Leonard, I was just speaking with the Seans about the intention behind the A and B layout. A lot of the players have been talking about the complexity that has added to their preparation.
For sure.
Talk to us about the intent behind it.
Well, I mean, fundamentally, and I've talked to a couple of players today, I assume since 3 is sort of what they're used to and they kind of get in that rhythm, that 4 feels like a lot more than 33% more, right? And we're on a golf course here, and we try to make it as technical and interesting and nuanced as possible, but 4 feels like 5 rounds if you're playing on a course where the shots are just not that interesting. If you're playing a classic wooded course, man, you might want to play it 6 or 7 times. It doesn't get old, right? So I think the terrain and just the fact that it's generally open and flat really begged for variety. I thought it would get a little tedious, and it's a major, and it's a major that a lot of folks wish was on a wooded site. So I couldn't see us, apart from other reasons, that was first and foremost. I couldn't see us asking players to play the same holes more than 3 times.
Yeah. And Sean, how did you guys divvy up whether you would go back and forth between the A and B, or whether you would go AA and BB?
It wasn't arbitrary, that's for sure, but it kind of came down to the new location for hole 1 and Leonard's desire to have a really good version for hole 1 while meeting other constraints or requirements like exciting to watch from the stage, so on and so forth. And so we ended up with both a par 3 and a par 4 for that hole. And the par 4 version plays down and ends basically 150, 200 feet from the green of 18, which was 17. And I thought that managing spectators around that par 4 green with all the spectators we're expecting for this weekend was going to be very challenging.
Gotcha.
And so that for me made the decision that we should play AABB with the par 3s, the par 3 version being on the B layout.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense
there. We went back and forth on it, and it's a tough call because AB is maybe more balanced competitively.
Absolutely.
But operationally, it's 3 times as much work.
Yeah.
You know, rather than moving it once, resetting the course once, you reset it 3 times.
Sure.
So, yeah, I get it. And so as a designer working with these guys, I don't always, it doesn't always turn out the way that I would hope, but I'm always happy with the way it turns out because I'm only, you know, I understand a lot of the other context, but I'm still primarily the design guy and he's the operations guy. He's got to make it work. So these trade-offs, I mean, we make 50 of them every time, right?
Only 50?
Yeah, right. And I'd say 40 of them are pretty slam dunk, and then 10 of them are like, but you know, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a big part of being part of this, and part of why I'm back. Dude, I'm happy to be the designer here, but the operational execution, I mean, it's A+, right? The terrain, the best I can do with the design here is a B. That's just the ceiling on the site. And if I do my job as well as possible, I think we have a B quality layout, which, you know, I can hear the cynics, and, you know, if they're nice about it, I would agree with them that I have a major on a property that, you know, is at best B. There's a lot of other things that go into making a major work well and be a success, but the core of it being, you know, good competition. I can test players well, but you'd love different variety. You'd love more technical. You'd love natural risk reward and less fake OB. You'd love all that, and I agree. You'd love scrambling. Honestly, that's the thing that's most conspicuous in my mind between an open golf course and a wooded course. I don't get to test anybody scrambling hard at all.
Yeah.
And scrambling, when you watch people scramble well, we all admire that. That's mad skill, right?
Yeah.
And so there's all those trade-offs are part of it. Anyway, so I'm really happy with the choices we've made in terms of how we align the design with running it.
And building it.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. I make decisions that inspire a whole lot of effort, and these guys, you know, they decide when it's worth it and when it's not.
Well, Leonard, operational situation aside, in a hypothetical world, what's the best setting for a disc golf course that you design for a major?
Yeah, I mean, you know, natural OB, lots of scrambling.
You have a property that comes to mind?
Oh, man, on the West Coast?
Sure.
No.
Not here. Not anywhere.
You know, I haven't actually seen anything on the West Coast that,
well, maybe
you know,
north of us.
Yeah, I mean, Brook Trails is really fantastic. It's glorious in terms of its
grandeur.
Yeah, and it's just such a beautiful space to be in. But even then, it's not even the level of technicality I would like.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure there's another redwood grove out there that
that we haven't gotten into yet. But there's not Nevin or any of the, you know, when I was at USDGC last year, and I don't travel east that much, and I saw a half dozen wooded courses, and it was just, I was almost practically in tears. So beautiful.
Yeah.
In terms of what that feels like. And the guys here know I almost never play anymore. I was playing there.
Cool.
And so it's a different kind of golf.
Yeah.
And you know, there's other things too. We all somewhat ad nauseum talk about, you know, presenting the sport, and open courses make it easier to present the sport and organize the fans and all that. And that's true, but it's still not my dream terrain in terms of, at the heart of it, I want to see a fair challenge. You know, really strong challenge that's really fair and with tremendous variety. And it's harder to make that happen on a space that's not as technical as a wooded space is.
Well, how do you guys both feel about being a part of the team that is bringing a major back to California?
Very proud.
Yeah.
Very proud that, you know, we decided to take on the challenge knowing that people were critical of it coming. We anticipated that, and then kind of dealing just mentally with it. But I think once we all align on the fact that we were going to do it, it was just, let's go.
Yeah, these guys
let's figure it out.
I've been doing this a long time. I've never worked side by side with anybody who had the sort of relentless appetite for doing things great that these guys do. And it's so fantastic.
1,000 rated.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I've been like this for a long, long time, and a lot of times the people I was partnering with just weren't as passionate.
Yeah.
They didn't have those standards. They weren't as creative. And every year I'm out here tweaking the course, and maybe that gets more visibility and conversation, but they're behind the scenes innovating like crazy, and every
right.
year they surprise me, because even after all these years working with them, I'm still like, damn, you guys are so good and you're still pushing. And and that's amazing. And that's the way I tell myself the story of how the major got here and why it belongs here. Is because it's more than just the course. It's not the ideal. We'd all like every ideal to be there for, every checked box to be checked, right? But in terms of just delivering a quality product, these guys do it best. So.
All right.
Thank you, Leonard.
The three-headed dragon of a disc golf tournament, Sean Jack, Sean Mercy, Leonard Muse. Thank you guys so much. Go ahead.
I just would like to say one final thing. We obviously have a lot of partners and a lot of members of our team who are super critical to making this all happen. I'm not going to try to name all of them, but I would like to say thank you to the entire Swenson course staff, from the pro shop, the new GM Henry, Kemper Sports, Zach and his team in the Fox Den, and especially Caesar and all of his staff, Chicken,
grounds crew,
Hugo, and forgetting the guy who does the mowing off the top of my head. But they are amazing. They have enabled us to do what we're doing out here.
Wow.
And it's a true collaboration at this point, and it means the world to us, and we wouldn't be here without them.
All right. Yeah,
sure.
Thank you for those shout outs. Thank you guys for your time, and look forward to the show this week.
Yeah, we do too.
Thank you,
All
Nate.
right. Well, that is a wrap on the Champions Cup press conference. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the President's Cup. Take care.